Time to tune in. Now another sports center. It's a movement.
But the next topic we are going to take and talk about is going to be the Denver Broncos. And holy cow, Mike, you and I and Adrian were talking before. We are a little rap session on what we're going to talk about. And man, this blew my mind. Mike Williams, take it away, please.
Yeah, man. So it's been interesting, man. Like, I'm a fan who's rooting this whole ownership situation after, Pat Bowlen, one of the greatest owners in NFL history, in my opinion, passed away, and how the trust has been operating. We really haven't made the playoffs, since Pat Bowlen has passed away. So I think the trust has been doing a good job, but the rules that he had in place were pretty stringent. Like, there's certain requirements. You had to work in the league for a certain amount of time, had to have bachelor's degree if one of his kids want to take it over. The most difficult portion of this entire thing has been having all the siblings agree on who the controlling owner is going to be. The team, the trustees, have, like, Joe Ellis, John Elway, etc., have really been grooming Brittany Bowlen, who, after seeing the work she's done in the program she's led for the Broncos, I'm 100% on board with her being the controller owner. I think she would make Pat Bowlen proud with kind of what she's been doing in her experience. But you got Amy and Beth Bowlen, who said they would not sign off on that, even though neither one of them hit the requirements, because they want the team to be sold. And we were talking like valuations earlier. The Broncos are estimated to be around $3.2 billion, but they were saying because of the Broncos' history and where they think teams being sold for in the future can go, they're thinking the Broncos could get sold between $6 to $8 billion if they end up getting sold. So again, I don't know. I think that I could understand, Amy and Beth's position where, if something happens, you're going to get between 1.5 to $2 billion each, which is bananas, with those siblings. But I also think that in the best interest of the team, I think Brittany Bowlen would be a good owner. But at the end of the day, that situation has to get resolved. We have to have somebody that's an owner. The trustees have been doing their job, but we need an owner there,
Most definitely. And what's crazy, I'm looking up here as you were talking, I show, and this is according to SI.com, so sportsillustrated.com, the Dallas Cowboys are valued at $5.7 billion. So if y'all get top dollar, you guys would be the most valuable franchise in the National Football League.
Well, they would have been I won't say they'll be the most valuable franchise. They will be the franchise that has sold for the most amount of money. Because here's the thing. If the Broncos are evaluating at $3.2 billion and everybody thinks that they're going to sell for more than that, I honestly believe that too, especially with a whole year hiatus. We saw how big sports were to American culture with the pandemic last year. And I think the value has only skyrocketed this season now that you have fans coming back. Ticket sales through the roof. So if we're thinking Broncos are going to sell 6.8, possibly $7 billion, these franchises like the Dallas Cowboys that have these $5.8 billion evaluations on it, now you're talking about a $10 billion franchise. Those evaluations are automatically going to go up just based off of the final sale price of the Denver Broncos. So yeah, owners like Jerry Jones with the Cowboys, Stan Kroenke, they're monitoring this big time, because you're talking about two of the biggest stadiums in the league, with Stan Kroenke having the newest stadium in the league. They're wanting the Broncos to go for a whole bunch of money and get that instant equity boost in their franchises. I mean, you're talking about two $10 billion franchises right off the rip. I think, Mike, you brought up a good point. You guys have did everything that you can with the trust. I think it's clear that the team has lacked that definitive direction. Everybody's doing their best with with the limited reach that they do have, but there needs to be somebody with controlling majority ownership that can make these definitive decisions for this team. One of the possibilities that it's kind of been thrown out there, you'll see it circulating in the net, is that because of the sell price of this Broncos, the potential sell price is that they would need to attract one of these big investors. You're talking a Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk type, or it's going to have to be some kind of big investment group. One potential investment group, and it's not an official investment group, but one potential group that's being thrown out there is the combination of both Peyton Manning and John Elway. Peyton Manning has made it known on several occasions that he is very, very interested in owning an NFL franchise, or at least having some kind of partial ownership stake in an NFL franchise. With John Elway's very strange promotion that he had, where they kind of promoted him but didn't promote him, created a unique position with him. I think, he's going into much higher echelons. And I know for a lot of Denver Bronco fans, they hold John Elway in very, very high regard, outside of drafting a quarterback. So, I think the two of those guys making some kind of ownership group and having, control, I would probably say John is probably going to have control, either that or, they bring Peyton in to fill John's current role and move John up. I think the franchise would be in good hands because it's two individuals that genuinely care about the franchise, that genuinely care about the game of football. Both of them come from championship pedigrees, and they're interested in hoisting more Lombardis, especially in a super, super competitive division like the AFC West.
And to add to that too is culture. You'll hear in businesses, it starts at the top. It's like, if you take football, it starts at the top. Well, football is a business, and indeed and in fact, it starts at the top. So to have a guy like Peyton Manning in there who genuinely loved playing for the Denver Broncos means a lot. Whereas if you have somebody who, that's like if I took the touchdown with Doug Smith and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take and sell it to Mike Williams and Adrian Campbell. Well, y'all work with me here on the show, so I know y'all gonna take care of this, right? Whereas if I like, okay, well, I'm gonna sell it to these other guys. And then they're like, okay, well, cool. Well, we're going to add techno music and all kinds of stuff that like, it could ruin the integrity of the show, right? Obviously not comparing my show to the Denver Broncos, but you guys see where I'm going with this, is that like you sell it to some outside investment group who they may not know anything about football. It's all about units at the end of the day. So they may not have interest in football. They probably don't even know that there's 4 downs in football. They may never even know that John Elway was a football player. You guys get my point. But they see dollar signs, so they're just like, oh yeah, let's go, let's buy it. It's kind of like when these old guys are taking, they invest into like a hip hop music label because they say, oh, there's money involved, like they don't have the appreciation for hip hop music, So the point that I'm trying to get at, ultimately, not to kick a dead horse, is that like I can't sweat this enough, and I hope this happens, is that this organization ends in the right hands, because it's going to keep the integrity of the Denver Broncos, whereas some outside forces may not absolutely have the same love and respect as Peyton Manning and so forth.
100%. And I think Peyton Manning, John Elway kind of thing would be great because they know how to play their roles from the background. They don't have to be the center of attention. I would hate for us to have a Jerry Jones type owner where the entertainment value of the team is high and the wins are very low. So I would definitely want somebody that's going to allow.
But the rings, Mike.
But they haven't won a ring since.
No. But if you ask any fan, the rings.
Yeah, I mean, but those rings now are closer. They're closer to winning a ring pop than a Super Bowl. So, I'm just saying, man. Like again, I think the ownership, Doug, like you said, man, the person, which is why I agree with Brittany Bowlen. Just seeing the work she's done in the league, the programs, getting to meet her at fan events and stuff like that. I think she would represent the organization well, but we'll see what happens.
Gotcha. And for people, before we end this clip here, for people who don't know who Brittany Bowlen is, maybe they don't even follow the Denver Broncos. I know who she is, but who is Brittany Bowlen?
Brittany Bowlen is one of Pat Bowlen's kids. He has 3 daughters, like myself. He has a son, but the son's kind of ruled out. He was the one that got the DUI and stuff like that. So because of some of his trouble that he's had, he's kind of ruled out of the ownership thing. But it's really between the 3 daughters who would have control and interest. I believe he has 5 kids. One of them has no interest. One of them is ruled out. So it's really between, Brittany, Beth, and Amy. And Brittany's the only one of his kids that has fulfilled all the requirements.
She out there rapping for the females, and to see a lot of awesome female faces in the National Football League is super dope, man. And she's definitely one of them.
Time to tune in. Now another sports center. It's a movement.